Hi, I'm Jake, and I'm a design partner at GV. Today I want to talk to you about customer interviews. So if you're running a startup or a business of any kind, and you've got new ideas, things that you want to deliver to your customers, it can be really stressful. You want to know if these ideas are going to work when they hit the real world. So when we do sprints with the companies in our portfolio, we end every week with one-on-one customer interviews where we're showing customers a realistic prototype of a finished product. These interviews are kind of like fast forwarding into the future and seeing what's going to happen when the product is released. Now, running these interviews, actually talking to customers one-on-one, is something that anyone on your team can do if they follow the proper steps. And in our book about sprints, which I happen to have right here, we talk about how to run those interviews, but it's also really helpful to see what that kind of conversation looks like. So today, I'm going to introduce you to my colleague, Michael, and Michael is going to show you how these interviews look. So in our book, we describe a 5-act customer interview. In the first act, you're going to do a friendly welcome. You're going to put the customer at ease and describe a little bit about how the interview will work. This is how Michael does it.
Thanks so much for coming in and helping me with this.
Sure.
I really appreciate it. Have you done something like this before?
I haven't.
Okay. Maybe I'll explain a little bit kind of what I'm up to. So when we're developing new designs and new ideas and things like that, we get to a point where it's really valuable to get some fresh eyes and some fresh perspective on it. And so that's how I need your help.
Okay.
What I'd love to do is just spend some time chatting with you about some stuff. It's pretty casual. And then I'll show you some different designs and some ideas. I'll ask you a lot of questions, but I don't want it to feel like I'm testing you. I'm trying to figure out if these designs work, if they make sense, and so I'm testing the designs. And the way I'll do that is I'll show it to you and ask you to think aloud as you're looking at these. So I'm trying to see it through fresh eyes, see it through your eyes.
After the introduction, you'll probably be itching to bring out the prototype and see how your customer reacts, but not so fast. First, you want to learn a little bit about the customer. You're going to have a natural conversation in Act 2, but you're going to be asking some specific questions to learn some background info. So in this example, Michael wants to find out about the customer's exercise and fitness habits.
So maybe just for starters, can you tell me a little bit about the kind of work you do?
So I'm an executive assistant, and I've been doing that for about 8 or 9 years.
And so what does that involve? Like,
It
what's a day
involves
look like?
scheduling meetings, doing expenses, booking travel, and basically just making sure that the lives of my executives run smoothly.
It sounds like a busy day.
It's always a busy day.
Busy day. And what kinds of things do you do when you're not working? Do you have certain kinds of hobbies or things that you like to do outside?
Yeah, I like to go shopping. I like to hang out outside with my daughter, go to the playground with her, or go on a walk, hiking, things like that. Movies, hang out with friends, things like that.
And things like the hiking and the walking, are there other things like that that you do to take care of yourself, to keep in shape?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a member of a gym, but I'm not now. And but I do like to stay active. So I like playing tennis, and that's basically the only sport that I play. But I do like to, like I said, go on walks or go for a run or things like that.
So after about 10 minutes of conversation, you'll be ready to bring out the prototype. In Act 3, you introduce the prototype, and you want to do it in such a way that the customer feels comfortable giving you frank and candid feedback about it. You want to make sure that they don't feel like they're being tested in any way.
What I want to show you, this is a prototype of another app. And so what that means is that some things will work and some things might not work. But we'll just kind of try it, and there's no way to break it or anything. So we'll just kind of try it. And again, like I mentioned before, what I'm doing is I'm testing the prototype and these designs. I'm not testing you. I'm going to be asking you all the questions.
Right.
But there's not a right or wrong answer. We're just going to try to, try it out and see how it goes, see what you think of it.
Sure.
And again, as we do that, if you think aloud, it really helps me kind of see it through your eyes as we try this out.
In the real world, your product will live on its own. You won't be there to guide customers along and tell them exactly what to do and how to use it. So in your interview, to get the most realistic results possible, in Act 4, you're just going to give the customer some tasks. And you're going to mostly watch what they do, occasionally asking questions just to encourage them to think aloud.
What would you do if you were looking for a new fitness app like we were doing before?
Just search the store.
Okay. So you see this featured app. Yeah, so maybe let's take a look at this one. Okay, so what's going on here? You're talking through this one.
Asking when you like to work out. So days of the week.
So for you, what would you choose?
I would choose probably Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then asks for the time of day. Probably have to do in the evening. It's asking to send notifications. Okay. Fit star profile. Name, height, weight, age, and fitness goals.
And what's this for?
Let's see, weight loss, muscle gain, strength, or overall.
So for you, what would you put in all this stuff, if anything?
So for the fitness goals,
For any of it, like what would you do with the screen?
so I would enter my height, I'm guessing feet and inches, my weight, which maybe I would lie a little bit, my age. I guess you shouldn't lie about your weight on a fitness app, but and then I'd probably select weight loss, maybe overall, because I don't really know what overall means, like if it means toning or stretching, things like that.
And what do you think each of these would mean?
So weight loss, you'll lose weight. Muscle gain, I figure you're going to get bigger muscles, which I don't really want. Strength, I kind of think is the same as muscle gain. At least I feel like the results would be the same. And overall, like I said, I don't really know what overall means.
At the end of the interview, you're going to ask the customer some debrief questions. So through the course of the first 4 acts, you'll have heard a lot, seen a lot of reactions. It can sometimes be hard to make sense of what's most important. In Act 5, when you ask these debrief questions, the customer will actually help you sift through everything you've heard.
So far, as we've gone through this, I'm just kind of curious what you think of this.
I think it's interesting. I think it looks pretty cool. It's always nice to have someone or something telling you what to do in order to get the results that you want. So it's helpful to have it outlined like this. And they say, okay, do this many jumping jacks and then do this many push-ups. So it kind of lays it out pretty easily, I think.
And what do you think of the parts that you don't like as much?
I don't think it's a big deal, but I just think that there's maybe a few tweaks. Like I haven't seen a woman since the very first video. So that's kind of a market that I think they're losing out on there, unless this is going to be just tailored for men. Okay. But other than that, I think it's just kind of small tweaks.
And that's it. At the end of the interview, you'll thank the customer, give her a gift card, and show her out. Now, if you'd like to learn more about running these kinds of interviews, check out our book, Sprint. It's got information about writing an interview script. It's got some tips for finding your customers, whatever kind of business or product you're making. And it's also got some advanced tips from Michael for conducting interviews. Thanks.